Mount Everest, the highest point on Earth. For nearly a century, it has been the ultimate challenge for explorers, thrill seekers, and adventurers from around the world. But in 2025, everything about climbing this legendary mountain is changing. From controversial new laws to dramatic shifts in how expeditions are run, Everest is about to enter an era unlike any before. Gone are the days when climbers could set off alone, sleep in luxury camps, or hop over base camps in helicopters. In 2025, new rules, rising tensions, and the legacy of a tragic solo climber are rewriting what it means to summit the world's most iconic peak. This might be the last season that even resembles the Everest known until now. And what's coming next is going to shake the mountain and the global climbing community to its core, the way it used to be. Before 2025, the Everest experience followed a familiar and almost sacred rhythm. Climbers would land in Kathmandu, then fly to the tiny mountain airstrip at Lukla, often described as the most dangerous airport in the world. From there, they'd embark on a 10-day trek through breathtaking Himalayan villages and winding trails, slowly making their way to base camp. It was about more than just altitude. It was about connection to the culture, the land, and the spiritual weight of the mountain. Once at base camp, climbers would spend weeks gradually moving between camps, ascending and descending, letting their lungs adjust to the thin air. Then, after careful planning and patience, they'd wait for a rare weather window, that fleeting moment when the skies clear and the winds settle, and make their final push to the top of the world. That entire system, with all its rituals and rhythms, is now being overhauled. The permit price hike that sparked it all. One of the biggest shakeups hitting Everest in 2025 is financial. Starting September 1st, the cost of a permit to climb Everest during the fall season is jumping from $11,000 to $15,000. That's a 36% increase overnight. For anyone who's ever dreamed of climbing Everest, this is a serious shift. And for those who've already shelled out tens of thousands for gear, guides, and logistics, this added cost might push the dream out of reach. But from the Nepali government's perspective, the increase is about more than money. Tourism Minister Badri Prasad made it clear, preserving the mountain, ensuring safety, and protecting local communities has to come first, even if that means pricing out some climbers. This is the first major price jump in over a decade, and it's just the beginning. Solo expeditions are now over. Climbing Everest solo has always been a test of pure skill and mental fortitude. For years, it was the ultimate badge of honor, an unfiltered, raw connection between climber and mountain. But in 2025, that challenge is being outlawed. Solo expeditions on any mountain over 26,000 feet, including Everest, are now banned. This isn't just about red tape, it's about safety. Climbing solo at extreme altitude means setting your own anchors, fixing your own ropes, and making life or death decisions when your brain is deprived of oxygen. And if something goes wrong, there's no one to help. From 2025 forward, every climber is now required to climb with a registered Nepali guide. The ratio must be at least one guide for every 2 climbers. It's a rule that had existed before, but was often ignored or sidestepped. Now it's being strictly enforced, and there's a heartbreaking reason why. The tragic disappearance of Shellard Swada. In 2023, an experienced mountaineer named Shellard Swada attempted to summit Everest without bottled oxygen and without Sherpa support. He was one of Hungary's most respected high-altitude climbers, with previous summits of K2 Broad Peak and Lhotse under his belt, all done in what climbers call fair means, climbing without artificial aid with full respect to the mountain's dangers. Swada's 2023 Everest climb was meant to complete his legacy. He arrived at base camp in April, prepared meticulously, and followed a deliberate acclimatization plan. By May 21st, he made his final push. 3 days later, on May 24th, he was last seen at a point called the Balcony, 27,600 feet up, deep in the death zone, where oxygen levels are so low even the fittest climbers begin to fade. Witnesses said he was upright, moving slowly but visibly exhausted. And then, his GPS tracker went silent. No one heard from him again. The next day, a drone spotted what looked like a motionless figure near the Hillary Step, just 112 feet from the summit. A rescue mission was launched, but worsening weather, snow and wind made it impossible to reach him. By May 27th, after multiple attempts, the search was officially called off. Shellard Swada was gone. Missing, presumed dead. This tragedy rattled the mountaineering world. It raised painful questions about risk, accountability, and whether the romance of solo climbing is worth the cost. Authorities never officially cited his story when they enforced the ban, but the timing spoke volumes. Mandatory tracking and life-saving tech to further boost climber safety. 2025 brings another major change. Upgraded satellite tracking devices are now mandatory for every climber. These aren't just GPS locators. They're small, rugged devices that monitor vital signs like heart rate, oxygen saturation, and body temperature, and they send that data back to base camp in real time. If the system detects dangerous patterns like sudden drops in oxygen or extreme temperature swings, it can automatically alert rescue teams. This means climbers in distress can be found faster, and it could save dozens of lives each year. The technology builds on controversial systems tested in 2024, but with better data, stronger signals, and improved durability in brutal conditions. The Sherpa strike that changed everything. While much of the global attention has always been on the climbers, the heartbeat of Everest lies with the Sherpas. These Himalayan people have carried, guided, and quite literally held climbers' lives in their hands for decades. But their sacrifices haven't always been met with fairness. Sherpas often make multiple crossings of the deadly Khumbu icefall, sometimes 20 to 30 times in one season, carrying oxygen tanks, tents, and gear, while foreign climbers pay up to $100,000 for expeditions. Sherpas typically earn just $2,000 to $6,000 for that entire season of dangerous labor. Out of 335 people who've died on Everest since 1922, 129 were Sherpas, nearly a third. Yet they represent only a small portion of total climbers. That imbalance came to a head in 2024 when threatened strikes from the Sherpa community brought Everest expeditions to a standstill. The message was clear. Without better pay, better insurance, and better working conditions, the mountain wouldn't move forward. The waste problem gets real. The environmental impact of Everest climbing has long been a dark stain on its legacy. In 2025, stricter waste management rules are being enforced to fight back against pollution. Climbers are now required to bring back at least 18 pounds of waste, including their own human waste, to get their refundable deposit back. That might sound harsh, but it's essential. The mountain has suffered from years of discarded gear, used oxygen canisters, and, yes, even frozen excrement contaminating the snow and water sources. This is about preserving Everest not just for future climbers, but for the communities that live in its shadow year-round. Helicopter rules take flight, then get grounded. In recent years, Everest saw a rise in so-called heli-hopping, wealthy climbers using helicopters to skip trekking days, hop between camps, or fast-track their journey to the summit. That ends in 2025. Helicopter usage is now restricted strictly to emergency evacuations and essential supply runs. A no-fly zone has been established above base camp, and violating it could result in heavy fines. While some say this makes Everest more fair and less commercialized, others argue it takes away an important lifeline. But most agree. If the mountain is going to be preserved, some sacrifices need to be made. Drones on the rise. Interestingly, while helicopters are being grounded, drones are taking flight, literally. The Nepalese government has approved high-altitude drones capable of delivering up to 44 pounds of supplies to Camp 3, located at 23,500 feet. These drones, first tested in 2024, are becoming a regular part of logistics in 2025. They can transport food, oxygen tanks, and emergency gear, all while reducing the number of risky trips Sherpas need to make. Some purists worry this reduces the raw challenge of Everest. Others see it as a practical move to save lives. Either way, drones are becoming a permanent fixture in the Everest ecosystem, the new road that changes the journey. And perhaps one of the most surprising changes is the new road that now connects Kathmandu directly to the Khumbu region. This new route, completed in late 2024, allows climbers and trekkers to travel from the capital to the Everest starting point in just 2 days by bus, jeep, and a short trek. That's a massive shift from the traditional 10-day trek that once marked the beginning of the Everest experience. Some welcome the convenience. Others mourn the loss of immersion in the culture and landscape. But either way, the Everest approach is no longer the same. Even some veteran climbers say it feels like skipping the prelude and rushing straight to the climax. The road may have shortened the journey, but it also reshaped it, and the full impact is only just beginning to unfold. Even with all these changes, Everest remains Everest. The altitude still kills, the cold still bites, the storms still come without warning. No regulation or technology can tame the elemental power of this mountain. But the way humans interact with Everest, that part is changing fast. 2025 is the tipping point. From permit prices to Sherpa protections, from solo bands to satellite tech, Everest is entering a new era, one that aims to be safer, more respectful, and more sustainable. But it's also a time of reckoning for climbers, for local communities, and for the mountain itself. Want to dive deeper into the raw stories that can't be shown anywhere else? Support the channel on Patreon for exclusive behind-the-scenes content and extended stories from the edge. And if this episode gave you a whole new view of Everest, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear what's really changing up there. Thanks for watching. Stay bold and live brave.